Can you walk me through, your path in music in general? Because it seems that, you know, you in the and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems you're right now. You're at the moment where your path is really gradually improving, and you're on the verge of constantly getting better and better opportunities. So can you walk me through how this started for you, how you achieved the level of progress that you are getting right now, and yeah, just give me sort of an overview in terms of where you are in general.
Sure. I mean, I've decided to, like everybody else, I've been in local bands and, you've done the local thing and everything.
Yeah.
So up until I was 28, I had my own band and we were doing smaller tours, just like club shows, weekend shows. And I noticed that I wasn't really getting anywhere here in Europe. And for some reason, I always had this idea of like, moving to Los Angeles and, try, my path in the United States. I also like here, how can I say that? I wanted to be in charge of my own future, of my own path.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I was doing the band thing, your singer suddenly quit and your drummer suddenly doesn't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And then, every 6 months I was trying to find musicians and it was just hard for some reason. So I was like, you know what, maybe a place like LA where I can just go and play with a bunch of people and be part of different projects, different bands and stuff like that. I could, I would make it up to me, and I would be in charge of my own path, if that makes sense. So when I was 28, I moved to Los Angeles and I started, playing with, what I just said, I started, playing jam nights, meeting people, and fast forward 3 years later, by playing with everybody and, people recommending you for other projects and stuff like that, I joined Butcher Babies. Mm-hmm. And from there on, I toured extensively with Butcher Babies till, this thing with Fear Factory came up, and they needed a guy to fill in. And, I happened to be there. I auditioned like everybody else and, it worked.
Nice.
But I guess your mindset is just really, really important, just, moving to Los Angeles, I set my expectations really low. In fact, I was thinking of moving back after 6 months, because I just didn't know what to expect. Mm-hmm. So every little thing that I achieved, even if it's just playing a show with a local band in LA or joining a project, a studio session, that to me was like always a major success.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Even though in the big spectrum, you would think, dude, it's just a session, or it's just a gig. But to me, that was like, no, dude, that's a step forward. So it always kept me going and going and going and going. So that was one of the things where, I realized that, you let your work speak for yourself. You know what I mean? You're just always on it. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I've always done it.
That's amazing, by the way. And I think it's such a, I think this is such a precious and important mindset to have, because obviously, nowadays, and I guess, being a musician, how difficult it is for you to properly be positive towards yourself, because you're constantly comparing with other people's progress and what other people are doing with bands, and you're just sitting there being frustrated and just wishing for the same thing to happen to you. So it's I find it amazing that would you say that you developed and you committed to this sort of thinking, or would you say this was something that you just had, naturally as a way of thinking?
No, no, that was 100% of development
Mm-hmm.
because as you just mentioned, let's say you're in this like giant pool of people like LA and you start meeting a lot of people, knowing a lot of people, and this guy's gonna play for this big artist and this guy's gonna, or maybe you see a guy that you think he's not doing the same amount of work
Yeah.
getting ahead of you. It's I was struggling with that in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but then I had to realize that like okay, so if you I don't know if you've seen like the horse races,
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
like the horses have like blinds on the
Yeah.
side so you can't see left and right.
Yeah.
And I heard some kind of quote or some kind of analogy to these horse races, and I'm like, actually, that's it. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. Put on these things and just focus on your own path forward.
Yeah.
Don't worry about this guy. Don't worry about that guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um, and so just concentrate and focus on your objectives, on your goal,
Mm-hmm.
and don't even worry about what's going on
Yeah.
around you
Yeah.
because every individual has a different story, has a
Mm-hmm.
different history, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like the worst thing that you can do, I think, is try to constantly compare yourself to other people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And over the years, I found it really important. Instead of thinking, oh, why did this guy, got to play for this huge artist, fuck him, or, I'm
Yeah.
better. I started thinking, regardless of he's better or not, what did this guy do or this person do to
Mm-hmm.
get there? You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And, how can I do this?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a mindset thing? Is it a skill thing? Is
Mm-hmm.
it something I can learn? Is it something, I think it's really important to have your mind open to the positive things and not the negative things
Mm-hmm.
because you just put yourself in a corner and
Absolutely.
gratitude too, like gratitude in a way like fuck man, I'm stoked for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stoked for this person.
Mm-hmm.
It shows me that it's possible
Yeah.
because how many times um, we were on a low and be like, oh fuck, this is, is this working? Am I on the right path?
Yeah.
And then you see other people making it
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, it's happening. It's fucking happening,
Yeah.
So there's a way, I just got to find it, and I have to keep working.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so well said. And I think um, I guess another very important part is just experiencing gratitude towards what you are getting as well. When people are so much focused on what everyone else is doing, can you sometimes forget to just feel good about the progress you are making, which, is not to be neglected, right? So,
Yeah, totally. I mean, gratitude is man, it's really powerful.
yeah.
It's really powerful. And I try to every time I complain about something, I try to go back and think, look, either like this could be worse, or
Mm,
you could be somewhere totally different. So, just kind of ground yourself back for a second. And it's
yeah.
hard, man. It's hard,
Yeah.
like um but back to your question, that's a development over the years,
Hmm.
and being surrounded by people that support you,
Yeah.
like my family, and my friends, loved
Yeah.
ones, everything,
Yeah.
and they're having a support system like that keeps reminding you of what you have
Hmm.
is, I think, really important and really good.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's, I don't know, I'm always a very big supporter of the significance of the mind work that you need to do when you're in this sort of abstract field that is full of chaos, as we've discussed, you know,
Yeah,
because people sometimes really, again, neglect how the lack of structure and the lack of routine is, affecting your mindset, and how even stronger you have to be in this sphere in order to be successful of some sort. So I don't know. It's that's why I guess I'm always so impressed by people such as yourself, or people, other people in the music business that has achieved so much, because knowing how much sacrifice and mental work this took is
dude,
just, yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah,
It's really crazy. Like even just recently, I've again, like I just realized this a couple of years ago.
yeah,
Again, the whole mind thing that,
yeah,
that's like it's either your best friend or your worst enemy. You know what I mean?
yes.
So I got into, for example, stoicism,
Yep.
and I started reading about Marcus Aurelius, the
Yes.
meditations,
Mhm.
things like that, and Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
Like I really started like, fuck, man, I need to, because I realized that if you can control it, if you can control your thoughts, and if you, it's really hard.
Hmm.
It's really hard because you can really, really just drown in sorrows and,
Yeah.
negativity, and once you're in there, it becomes a dark place, and who knows when you're going to get out of it.
Yeah. 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 It's
And I've been there. I'm sure you've been there.
oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's I keep coming back to it's cliche, I know by now, but I keep coming back to that, like Rocky Balboa,
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone quote. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about, how hard you can get hit, and,
Yeah.
keep moving forward.
Yeah.
It's literally that.
Literally, yeah. Literally. And it's, yeah, I think in order for you to properly understand that, you have to have been through it, right? And at this time, you sort of start understanding, hey, like I need to work on that as much as I need to work on my skills, because this is, especially with the time, I feel like it's, success, whatever you might understand under that term, is way more a matter of way of thinking and mindset, and being able to control your thought process rather than anything else.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
It's it's literally your guide.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I said, it's it can be your best friend or your worst enemy, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, absolutely. And you definitely don't want it to be your worst enemy.
No, 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 definitely not.